What if I told you that one simple decision, one disciplined commitment, and one clear financial target could change the way you experience fear, uncertainty, and unexpected challenges for the rest of your life? Most people do not fail financially because they lack intelligence, talent, or opportunity. They struggle because they are unprepared. Life has a way of testing every individual without warning. A sudden medical bill arrives when you least expect it. Your car refuses to start on the morning of an important meeting. An urgent repair threatens the comfort of your home. In those moments, panic is not caused by the problem itself but by the absence of preparation. This is why the idea of a $1,000 emergency savings plan is not just about money. It is about dignity. It is about confidence. It is about building a foundation that allows you to face life with calm determination rather than fear. Financial experts often recommend starting with a $1,000 emergency fund because it represents a psychological breakthrough. It is a number that feels achievable yet meaningful. It is large enough to cover many common emergencies, but small enough that most individuals can realistically build it with focus and discipline. The philosophy behind this approach reflects the mindset of leaders like Tony Elumelu, who emphasize preparation, responsibility, and long-term thinking. Financial security does not begin with millions. It begins with structure. It begins with the decision to create a safety cushion that protects your future from the shocks of the present. When you commit to building your first $1,000, you are not just saving cash. You are declaring that your peace of mind matters. Many people underestimate how quickly unexpected expenses appear. Research into household spending patterns consistently shows that small emergencies happen more frequently than major crises. A minor medical visit, a broken appliance, an urgent travel need, or a sudden school expense can easily cost several $100s. Without savings, these moments often lead to credit card debt, high-interest loans, or borrowing from friends and family. Debt then creates stress, and stress affects decision-making. Poor decisions lead to deeper financial instability. The cycle continues. A simple $1,000 emergency fund interrupts this cycle before it gains momentum. It acts as a financial shield that absorbs the shock so your long-term goals remain intact. But is $1,000 truly enough? The honest answer is that it depends on your lifestyle, responsibilities, and risk exposure. For some individuals, $1,000 can handle most short-term surprises comfortably. For others with larger families or higher monthly expenses, it may only serve as a temporary buffer. However, the true power of this milestone lies in its symbolism. It represents your first step into intentional financial living. It proves that you can set a goal, commit to it, and achieve it through consistent action. That confidence changes your mindset. You begin to see money not as a source of anxiety but as a tool for protection and opportunity. Building this emergency fund does not require dramatic sacrifices or overwhelming changes. It begins with awareness. Track your spending for 1 month and identify small areas where money quietly disappears. Unused subscriptions, impulsive purchases, frequent dining out, and unplanned shopping habits often consume more than we realize. Redirecting even a modest amount each week toward your emergency fund can create steady progress. Saving $25 or $50 at a time may feel insignificant, but consistency transforms small amounts into meaningful security. Discipline is more powerful than income level. The habit of saving builds resilience that no sudden expense can easily break. There is also a deeper psychological transformation that occurs when you reach your first $1,000. Fear loses its grip. You sleep better at night. You approach challenges with clarity rather than panic. Instead of asking who you can borrow from, you ask how you can solve the problem efficiently. That shift in mindset influences every area of your life. It strengthens your confidence at work. It improves your relationships because financial stress decreases. It allows you to think about growth instead of survival. This is why the $1,000 emergency savings plan truly makes a difference. It is not about perfection. It is about protection. In a world filled with economic uncertainty, rising living costs, and unpredictable events, preparation becomes a form of power. Tony Elumelu often emphasizes that financial stability begins with discipline and structured planning. When you adopt this principle, You stop reacting to life and start anticipating it. An emergency fund is the simplest expression of that philosophy. It is your personal insurance against chaos. It is your first shield against death. It is the quiet strength that stands behind your ambitions. The question is not whether emergencies will happen. The question is whether you will be ready when they do. At this point, everything may sound simple, even predictable, but the true test of your commitment begins when reality pushes back against your intention. You may start with enthusiasm, motivated by the idea of security and peace, only to discover that unexpected temptations and pressures appear almost immediately. A sale promises instant gratification. Friends invite you to experiences that stretch your budget. Bills arrive earlier than expected. Doubt begins to whisper that saving $1,000 is too difficult, too restrictive, or too slow to matter. This is the moment where most people quietly abandon their financial goals, convincing themselves that they will try again next month. Yet this is also the exact moment that separates those who build resilience from those who remain financially vulnerable. Suspense enters your journey not because the number is large, but because discipline demands consistency when motivation fades. You begin to question whether $1,000 can truly make a difference in a world where emergencies sometimes cost far more. You hear stories of hospital bills in the thousands, major car repairs that exceed expectations, or sudden job losses that stretch for months. The mind starts to magnify worst-case scenarios, and the small milestone you are working toward begins to feel insignificant. But here is the hidden truth that many overlook: the purpose of the first $1,000 is not to solve every possible crisis. Its purpose is to prevent small crises from turning into long-term financial disasters. When a minor emergency arises and you have no savings, you are forced to rely on credit. Credit often comes with interest. Interest compounds over time. What begins as a $500 problem can quietly grow into a much larger burden. The stress of repayment influences your decisions, sometimes pushing you toward quick fixes instead of strategic thinking. However, when you have a $1,000 cushion, even if it does not cover every expense entirely, it dramatically reduces the impact. It buys you time. It gives you options. It allows you to negotiate, plan, and respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. That difference alone can protect your financial trajectory. Consider how this aligns with the philosophy often associated with Tony Elumelu, who teaches that sustainable success is built on preparation and structured action. Financial empowerment is not about waiting for perfect conditions. It is about building strength in stages. The first stage is survival protection. The second stage is growth. Without the first stage, the second becomes fragile. When your foundation is weak, even small tremors create instability. But when your base is stable, you can pursue investments, career development, or entrepreneurial opportunities with confidence. The $1,000 emergency fund is that base layer of stability. There is also a powerful emotional element hidden beneath the numbers. Many people underestimate how financial stress affects their health, relationships, and productivity. Anxiety over money can cloud judgment, reduce focus, and strain communication with loved ones. When every unexpected expense feels like a threat, life begins to feel like a constant battle. However, once you build your first safety cushion, something shifts internally. You feel a quiet strength. You understand that while you cannot control every event, you can control your preparation. This sense of control restores confidence and clarity. As you continue building your emergency fund, you may encounter a surprising challenge. Once you reach several $100s, the temptation to use the savings for non-emergencies can become strong. A vacation opportunity appears. A new device seems necessary. A limited time offer creates urgency. You might justify dipping into the fund, promising yourself that you will replace it later. This is where discipline transforms from theory into action. An emergency fund must remain sacred. It is not a convenience fund. It is not entertainment money. It is protection against genuine unexpected needs. Guarding it builds character and reinforces financial maturity. Another moment of suspense appears when a real emergency finally occurs. You withdraw money from the fund, and the balance decreases. For a brief moment, it may feel discouraging, as though your hard work has been undone. But then clarity emerges. The fund worked exactly as intended. It absorbed the shock. It prevented debt. It preserved your long-term goals. Instead of seeing the reduction as failure, you recognize it as proof that preparation matters. You rebuild the fund with renewed determination, stronger and wiser than before. The journey toward financial stability is rarely dramatic in a visible sense. It is built through quiet decisions repeated consistently over time. Each deposit into your emergency fund represents a vote for your future security. Each choice to delay unnecessary spending strengthens your resilience. Over weeks and months, these small decisions compound into a powerful financial buffer. And as your savings grow beyond $1,000, you begin to understand that the milestone was never the final destination. It was the beginning of a disciplined lifestyle that protects your peace and empowers your ambition. As you stand at the threshold of completing your first $1,000 in emergency savings, you may realize that the true transformation was never about the number itself, but about the person you have become in the process. Discipline has replaced impulse. Awareness has replaced denial. Intentional action has replaced careless spending. This evolution is the quiet victory that most people never see, yet it is the foundation upon which lasting financial freedom is built. The $1,000 milestone is not the end of your journey. It is proof that you can design your financial future instead of drifting through uncertainty. When you reflect on the philosophy often associated with Tony Elumelu, you understand that wealth creation and financial security are rooted in preparation, responsibility, and consistent effort. He teaches that sustainable success begins with structured thinking and disciplined planning. Your emergency fund is the simplest expression of that mindset. It demonstrates that you respect your future enough to protect it. It signals that you are no longer willing to allow small disruptions to derail your ambitions. That shift in identity is powerful. Once you see yourself as a prepared and disciplined individual, your actions naturally align with that belief. Now comes the deeper question. What happens after $1,000? The answer reveals the larger vision behind this strategy. The first milestone builds momentum. The next step is expansion. Many financial experts suggest gradually increasing your emergency savings to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This larger cushion provides protection against job loss, prolonged illness, or significant life changes. But without the initial $1,000, reaching that higher goal can feel overwhelming. The first milestone simplifies the journey. It transforms a distant dream into a series of achievable steps. As your savings grow, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Instead of fearing economic downturns, you prepare for them. Instead of avoiding conversations about money, you engage with clarity and confidence. Instead of reacting emotionally to financial pressure, you respond strategically. This mindset shift influences every financial decision you make. You become more selective about debt. You evaluate purchases more carefully. You invest in skills and knowledge that increase your earning potential. Protection leads to empowerment, and empowerment leads to growth. There is also a profound sense of dignity that comes from financial preparation. When emergencies arise, and they inevitably will, you handle them quietly and confidently. You do not need to broadcast your struggle or depend on high-interest credit to survive. You take responsibility, apply your savings, and continue moving forward. That independence strengthens your self-respect. It also inspires those around you. Family members observe your discipline. Friends notice your calm approach to unexpected problems. Your example becomes a subtle lesson in financial maturity. It is important to remember that building an emergency fund does not require perfection. There may be months when progress feels slow. There may be setbacks that require you to rebuild. What matters is consistency. Even small contributions, made regularly, create powerful results over time. A modest deposit each week may not feel impressive in isolation, but over months it becomes a shield against stress. Over years it becomes a platform for opportunity. The power lies in persistence, not in speed. Financial preparation also reduces the emotional cost of uncertainty. When you lack savings, every rumor of economic instability feels personal. Every unexpected bill feels catastrophic. But when you have a safety cushion, uncertainty becomes manageable. You still respect risk, but you no longer fear it. That emotional stability allows you to think long-term. You can plan investments, career moves, or entrepreneurial ventures with clarity. You understand that preparation does not eliminate risk, but it transforms your relationship with it. As you move forward, remember that the $1,000 emergency savings plan is more than a recommendation. It is a declaration of control. It is a statement that you refuse to be financially fragile. It is the first visible step toward a life built on structure rather than chaos. Inspired by principles similar to those taught by Tony Elumelu, you recognize that prosperity begins with disciplined foundations. Preparation today protects possibility tomorrow. The journey toward financial security is not reserved for the wealthy. It is available to anyone willing to act intentionally. The amount may start small, but the impact is profound. When you build your first emergency fund, you build confidence. When you protect your stability, you unlock opportunity. When you choose discipline over impulse, you rewrite your financial story. The $1,000 you save today may be the decision that prevents years of unnecessary debt tomorrow. It may be the barrier that shields your dreams from unexpected storms. Start where you are. Use what you have. Commit to consistent progress. Protect your peace before you pursue expansion. Build your foundation before you chase growth. Your future self will thank you for every disciplined choice you make today. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.